Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Nick Armenis, and today I'm going to present to you my guide on Google Merchant Center suspensions. Okay guys, so given you're on this video, you've probably had your account banned, suspended, or you're wanting to know a bit more info so this doesn't happen to you. This video is going to be perfect for you, and I recommend anyone running Google Shopping ads, watch this video so you can make sure your account doesn't get suspended and you abide by Google's rules. Okay, let's get into the video, guys. So for those of you that don't know, that are running ads and have just been hearing that Merchant Center accounts are getting suspended, this is the error message you're going to see, right? So when you go into your Google Merchant Center, you're going to have this little red error message up the top, and it could be for a variety of reasons that it will say there, okay? The one right here is the most common one. So it's misrepresentation of self or product, untrustworthy promotions, all right? And the reason you're getting this is you've in some way breached Google's terms and conditions, their policies relating to the Google Merchant Center, okay? So you've breached something, or they've flagged that you could be potentially breaching something in the future, right? So they've got filters there, they run, and they match data points and go, okay, this person is likely to do this, has done this, and they're saying that basically, guys, you've breached them, and we don't want you, we're warning you, you need to get in contact with us, and you need to rectify any issues, right, at this point in time. So you're also going to get an email and this error message. Before we get into the meats of it, guys, I'm going to give you my view on what's been happening, because there's a lot of talk out there, why accounts getting suspended, Google hates dropshippers, Google hates beginner online stores. And just so you're aware, this isn't new, guys. Google is just getting better and smarter. This isn't a totally new thing. Accounts have been getting banned across all advertising platforms since they began, right? These people need to have rules in place. A lot of them are government regulations. And so they're also just making sure that the end customer doesn't get scammed and is safe. In 2018, a Google executive, someone very high up in Google, was actually scammed, right? So they ordered a set of Bluetooth headphones, I believe, and they never got them. And it turns out it was this scam that was running in Vietnam. And people were literally setting up stores, running Google Shopping ads, and then never intending to sell the product. So obviously, once Google found this out, they really ramped up their efforts to stamp it out. There's nothing that speaks better than someone high up getting scammed. It's going to cause some serious action within the company, right? Potentially, they didn't even know some of this was happening, or it wasn't a priority. So, guys, once fraud is identified, like what happened there, they're going to use those common attributes and use AI to find people that are similar, right? So it might be people in the same city or in the same location because they might be related or involved with those other people. There's so many attributes they're able to look at. I mean, they're tracking us at pretty much every point in time. Not to get tinfoil hat on you, but they know almost everything about you. They know your search history. They know your credit card details. They know everything, right? And guys, I'm going to be honest, the vast majority of times, the bans that happen, although automated, they should be getting banned, a lot of these people, right? I think you'll agree with me that you don't want to be shopping somewhere online where you can get scammed, right? It's not good, or where people are able to sell unsafe products. I know we're all in this to make money, guys, but at the same time, if you're just in this to make a quick buck, it's very, very hard to build a long-term business on that, because so many issues like this are going to come up, right? Now, guys, there are far too many e-commerce stores out there that aren't real businesses. They're just people that are out there just wanting to make a quick buck. And I've got nothing wrong with that, but you need to run it in accordance with the law, consumer protections in mind. And also, you've got to be aware that these companies are going to ban you if you have something that's a little bit misleading, right? So ask yourself honestly, are you running this for the long term? Do you have your customers' best interests at heart? Or are you just wanting to make money fast? Because I guarantee you, the mindset that you're in is going to impact the choices you make on your store, the effort you put into it. And when you're trying to find shortcuts, Google and other advertising platforms, they're going to know that. The same people that are, not running proper businesses, not giving proper consumer protections, misleading people, just trying to make a sale, they're going to get banned. I know you might think it's unfair, but it actually is very fair. Big businesses have to comply, and so do you. So this is the actual article I was talking about here, guys. So Google broke up a Vietnamese con scheme after an employee was scammed buying Bluetooth headset, right? Google executive gets scammed. So jump on, have a Google, have a read through this, and it's going to give you a better context as to, one, why this is happening and big push, and two, also what sort of things you got to think about they're going to be looking for, right? So if your account gets banned or if you get a suspension or whatever, there's no magical solution or a single particular action that will rectify it, right? I get asked this on a daily basis, so I just wanted to cover it off straight away. No magic to it. There's a set of rules. You need to follow them. You need to fix whatever has happened, and then you need to contact Google to try and get it back. If you don't, then we'll get to that towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So why do accounts get banned? We've already understood that there's scams, but let's try and understand this. What you need to think about is Google thinks there's something fishy or risky about you and your site, right? So there's something you're doing that Google just finds, you know what, this just doesn't feel right. And it could be a whole myriad of things, and we're going to get into it. So it's entirely automated, so don't take it personally, right? That Google isn't out to get you specifically, or dropshippers, or whoever it might be, right? A lot of fraud, as we just found out, occurs on Google Shopping. And so Google then has all those attributes that those people had, and it associates those things with fraud. And these are getting constantly updated. And that's why the bans are happening in mass lots of time, right? They're finding something new, they're mass banning people, whether it's countdown timers, whether it's too many products on sale for too long. So your first point, guys, is go click this link and actually go through Google Merchant Center policies in detail. I guarantee probably 80-90% of you, maybe more, haven't gone through this in detail. Read it regularly. So once you've gone through all that and worked out, other products you're selling in compliance, does your store comply? Are you doing anything a little bit dodgy? Trying to mislead people? Could even be the tone and language of your store. Go and ask yourself, once you go through this, would you actually buy from your site? Like, honestly, if your site came up in Google Shopping, you click through, you had a look around, would you buy from it? Most of the sites I see, I would never buy from. I would never put my credit card details in there. I know that I would possibly either been waiting a really long time for this product, or I'd know that I'm going to get scammed. So the other thing to ask yourself and think about is, are you doing something in any way that's misleading? Are you telling people something is on sale when it isn't? That's the price all the time. That's illegal in Australia, right? In your product description, are you talking the product up to do things more than what it actually does, like rapid weight loss? Does it actually cause rapid weight loss? Have a think about all these, guys, and actually truly ask yourself, what things can you change about your store and your thinking to make sure you do not do these things, right? So you're probably asking, what can you do, right? So I'm going to show you the actual steps you can take to try and, firstly, you want to avoid this happening, and secondly, if it does happen, what you can fix. So the steps to remove a suspension are: identify the reason for the suspension. So in the red error message, it's probably going to tell you the reason. And then you're going to need to contact Google for a manual review, right? So identify the reason, and you obviously need to fix that reason. And then once that's done, contact Google for a manual review. So the reason you will have been banned is you have breached one of these 4 sections, broad areas of Google Shopping's policy. And that's why I said you need to go and read it and review it, because most of you will have breached something on here. The policy is somewhat vague in some aspects, and it's quite broad, but going through this and reading it will get you to better understand, alongside the context. They're wanting people to be safe and not be scammed, and to build a trustworthy e-com site. Go through these and see which one could you have banned, right? Which one would have caused your ban. So I'm going to cover off the most common reasons for Merchant Center suspensions. The first is insufficient contact info or omission of relevant info. Okay, this is a super common one. I see it all the time. Your contact page needs to be easily accessible, have it in the header and the footer of your site, right? People need to be able to get in contact with you. And on top of that, you must have 2 of these below 3 listed on the contact us, right? They need to be legitimate phone numbers, emails and stuff, and they need to match across the whole internet, right? So wherever you're mentioning your site, whether it's on your web page, on your Google Ads account, Merchant Center, all of these emails, addresses, phone numbers need to match. They need to be real. For an email, do not use a Gmail. Use a proper branded email. Using a Gmail would be 100% one of the factors that would be more likely a factor of fraud within Google's system. I can guarantee that. Address, make sure it's a real address and matches other areas. Ideally, do not have a private home address. I know this is hard, but make sure it's real and try to avoid having a private home address, right? So if you have a warehouse, use that. If not, then address may be the item you do not put in there, okay? But if you're running a proper business, you need to have an address. Now, there's plenty of co-working spaces and serviced offices out there where you can use their address, right? You can pay to have mail directed there, and you can use that as an address. So if you're wanting to run an actual business, that's what I would recommend. For a phone number, again, guys, don't use a fake one. And what you could do is just sign up and get a virtual one. Basically, guys, what I'm getting at is you cannot just have a contact us form and nothing else there. People need to have multiple ways to get in contact with your business. Ideally, have the hours listed there and give them an indication as to how long it will take to get back to them, right? So if you get this error message, guys, make sure you rectify it, get in contact with Google, and you should be able to quite easily get your account back with this one. The next thing I see, guys, is people selling counterfeit or dangerous goods. So basically you're selling fakes or counterfeits, things like the shirt down here, which is, clearly a play on Gucci. And then the actual shoes down here that are clearly that Google will determine that are fake, right? So it's pretty good at, recognizing images across the internet. And then all you need is someone to report you and they're going to ban your account, right? They've got absolutely no tolerance for selling fake, trademark, patent products that you do not have the rights to sell, right? Or the products could just be closely mimicking a trademark, yeah? So any of these things here are a no-no, guys. If you do this, you will not get your account back, okay? If you just get certain products flagged in the merchant center and they have this, just remove them, because if you end up having too many of these errors, you're gonna get your account banned. So the other thing is obviously the dangerous side, and this is a side that I see a lot of people sell products that could cause a ban, right? And I get messages every day and I go, mate, I would not be selling this product. This could cause harm or injury. And the response I always get back is, hey, I've been selling this for a while and there are other people selling it. That's fine. If you have that approach to this, guys, and you do not listen to me or read the policies, then don't be surprised when your account gets banned. And I bet you anything, your account will get banned. Things that go into people's mouths, stomachs, are ingested, go on the skin, any of those things to me are high risk and dangerous, and I just would not be selling them, right? I prefer to sell low risk products because I guarantee none of you have proper insurances in place. So if a customer actually does get injured, you will be personally liable, and if you own any assets, they could be taken too, right? Do not sell this stuff, guys. Just treat this as a real business, yeah? So healthcare vitamins, anything ingestible, I would just totally avoid unless you have proper certifications that they're safe. If you're selling something from China and you have never used it yourself, you don't know what's in it, why would you then sell it to someone else and potentially injure them? Yeah? So approach this with common sense, guys. If it has the ability to hurt, injure, or you have no idea what the product contains, do not sell it. So guys, when in doubt, read the dangerous products policy, which I've listed there. So grab that and have a read. Another common reason, guys, is missing legal pages. These are the main pages you need on your site. You need to have a refund or return policy, terms of service, shipping, contact us, privacy policy. These are the main pages. If these are not easily discoverable, have them in multiple places again, product page, footer, cart, everywhere you possibly can have them so that they're easily found and easily crawled by Google. And then on top of that, and this is where a lot of people get caught up, policies must be clear and not misleading, all right? So you need to tell people and disclose all the conditions before and after purchase, right? How are you handling their data? What is your refund policy? Be very careful when you're using templates because a lot of them are actually quite vague. You need to have in simple steps for people what to do when there's a refund, all right? What are the steps they need to take? How long do they have to make a refund? And this needs to comply with the law of your country as well, guys. You can't actually deal somewhere and then completely avoid responsibility, right? So you need to ensure that you're, one, complying with the law, and two, all of these things are clear and not misleading. So on top of it, obviously have them, because a lot of people actually forget to have them, launch a store, and then they get in trouble for this, right? This is normally another easy one to get your account back. Again, if you obviously breach this hard enough, you may not get your account back. So make sure you have these policies and they're clear. So as I've just said, you need to highlight things in these pages like the time frame for refunds and returns, specify the number of days, who pays return shipping costs, What's your policy for defective and broken products? Change of mind policy. Is the language in the correct language for the countries you're targeting? This is another big one. If you're targeting multiple languages and you only have stuff in one language, this could cause an issue, right? Because how can the person possibly know how to return a product if they can't read your language, right? So that's a big one. Make sure you think about all these little bits and pieces. I know it's a lot to take in, but go through this guide in detail, and I promise you're going to be in a much better position than most people when approaching this. So some other really common reasons, guys, before I get to the really big one, the one that you're all waiting for, obviously the misrepresentation, is one, inaccurate shipping and tax costs. You need to match whatever's on your store to the merchant center. Inaccurate prices, availability, or product condition. So your pricing needs to match what's on your store, and it also needs to match your schema markup, right? So your code, if it doesn't match what's on your store and feed, Google will flag that as an issue. You can't sell products you don't have available for sale yet. And the product condition. So if you're saying something is new and it's used, that's a problem. Make sure all your links are working. You're not putting dead links in there, and you don't have landing page issues, guys. This is another common one. And then the other reason, guys, is having tons of issues in your merchant center and never fixing them, right? Fix them as soon as possible. That's why people hire myself and other agencies to make sure that our clients have those issues fixed, right? And they have them fixed right away. And this in turn means that their account quality is obviously much higher than someone that just leaves, hundreds or thousands of issues in there, and days go by and eventually their account, and weeks go by and their accounts get banned. So make sure you're fixing those issues. Check it regularly. So the big one, the one you've all been waiting for: misrepresentation of self or product, untrustworthy promotions. What does that mean? Super vague, guys, and I know it's a tough one. It's not easy to understand. It's very unclear. But I'm going to tell you what I've found this to mean, why you've got the ban, and then what you can potentially do to fix it, or at least never get banned again. So what causes this ban? You and your store have in some way raised a red flag in Google's AI system of checking for fraud and compliance, right? So something you've got on your site is telling them, there's just something not right. It matches previous fraud. Google is basically saying you're misleading, or you're likely to be misleading people in some way. If you have too many elements that are similar to scammers that found, then you may have issues, right? And I know you're saying this is targeting drop shippers in general, and yes, because I guarantee you that more drop shippers than non-drop shippers have been scamming people. And so yes, this would be something that Google would want to stamp out, right? So don't take this to heart, guys, because I've got lots of clients drop shipping who are doing really, really well, but they're running proper businesses, right? They've got all these policies in place. A lot of them are dealing with local products, so it doesn't take forever to get it. I guarantee you're doing something that isn't 100% true or in your customer's best interest. And I think if most of you have an actual really hard think and ask yourself, would you want to buy from your store? Honestly, I think a lot of you would say no, because I see some of the sites that people put and they send me links and messages and post in my group, and some of them are terrible, guys. And there's nothing wrong with that. My first site was terrible too, but you cannot anymore have a crappy site. It needs to look actually like a branded site. You need to have products that are getting delivered faster than an AliExpress 1 month, and you need to not be lying to customers. So all the really quick stuff to check, guys, is one, your shipping page. Does it exist, right? Do you have one? Is the info accurate? I find that if you do not have this, it may flag the other ban, but I also find that it may flag the misrepresentation ban, because, the other thing is with the accurate part is, are you telling people it's going to get there in 2 days and it takes 2 months? That's a lie, right? So if you have a shipping page that is written really scammily, and if you're just using copy-paste templates, that is a flag in and of itself for me. Go in there and fix these templates up a bit, make them clearer. You're less likely to get flagged. Think about what are all the things that Google has access to, right? Got access to your website. Make sure everything on there is clean. What else do they have? They've got access to ad accounts, merchant centers. All these things need to match each other, and you cannot have things that you're copy pasting from people, right? So again, are all the 4 legal pages present, clear, and not misleading? The misleading bit is the key here, right? They need to be so clear, guys. The person needs to know the exact steps to take to get a refund, for example. Some templates out there are very wordy and hard to follow, so go in and simplify them. And again, do not try and misrepresent or mislead people. If you put the correct info in there and you dumb it down, much less of a chance of getting this ban. So contact info, go watch the earlier section. So again, contact info needs to be easily accessible. Go to the previous part of the video and listen to that. But yeah, try not to use a residential address or info that is different in your merchant center and ad account. Yeah. Make sure it all matches. And then if you have multiple ad accounts, try and use the same address across things, guys. And the other thing that I don't think a lot of people know is link your Google Merchant Center to your Google My Business and your Google Ad account, and then verify your Google My Business account, right? So you're a legitimate business with an address. That's going to tell Google you're far more trustworthy. I think a lot of people forget about this step, and it's definitely going to improve your trust. I guarantee you most of the scammers are not doing this. So the next one is, have you got a lot of Merchant Center errors? Go in there regularly, go in there daily if you can, and see how many errors you're getting. Remove them as soon as you get them. If you need someone to help with that, then contact an agency, go on Fiverr, get someone to help you with this, and obviously you're gonna reap the rewards longer term. So next bit is, have you had bans before, and have you created multiple new accounts with the same IP address, store URL? This is the bit that I always struggle with helping people, is I don't know what they've done in the past, and they don't tend to tell me. And so without knowing that, this could be the reason for the ban, right? If you've had heaps of instances in the past, like way back or a couple months ago, this is obviously going to give a flag to Google that you're creating multiple accounts and you could be trying to scam people, because someone scamming someone is going to be doing that. So remember, we've got to put our heads, our brains, we've got to put our thoughts into the head of the scammer, right? What would they be doing? If it's something they'd be doing, then you should try and avoid it, right? So here's my question. Ask, what do scam stores generally all have in common? Ask yourself that. What is it, and what on your store could be perceived as a scam or misleading? What are you lying to people about if you are? So the issues I've found on the actual store itself, so on the website. So a very clunky or incohesive or spammy feel to the website. A lot of you will have seen really poor dropshipping stores and gone on there and being like, man, this does not feel right. This isn't a nice store. I'd buy from it. So I know a lot of people out there teach that you can just put up a store, make sales. It doesn't really matter. It definitely matters now. If your store doesn't have a branded feel to it, custom logos, lots of products, you know what I mean? So if you've just got a bunch of products just listed on the page, not really a home page, which I've seen even people within my course do that. So I put out all this content out there to help you guys. So watch it, try and make improvements and build on, constantly improve your store, right? You don't want to go out there and launch a store that is a half-assed attempt, yeah? You cannot do that anymore. It's not going to work. And this is the stuff that gets people banned, because even if that wasn't the reason for the ban, when they do the manual review, if your store doesn't look legitimate, these people see stores every day. They know what a good store looks like. Heaps of people shop online now. There's no excuse. People know what a good store looks like. Pay someone to make it good if you actually are taking this serious. The third most common one, guys, I see, and unfortunately it tends to be people where English isn't their first language, is tons of grammatical errors or awkward use of language. So you got to remember, guys, Google is able to crawl your whole website, right? So it's going to know if your language through machine learning is awkward or grammatically incorrect, right? And if you have tons of spelling mistakes and things like that, it's going to know that. It's going to know that spam sites had something similar. So try and avoid it. The other one I find is a spammy sounding site name like Dealsy Deals, Getsy Deals. I see some terrible ones out there, yeah? Try and create a branded name even for a general store, something nice, clear, simple. And you're going to obviously have less of a chance of being banned, because most spam sites or most poor performing sites have terrible names. The other one I find is too many products with sale price or compare at price if you're using Shopify. So you're telling people the product is on sale when it actually isn't on sale. And so in Australia, this is definitely illegal. If you have something and you're not selling it at the full price, right? You need to be selling it on the full price more than at the promotion price. Otherwise, the promotion price is said to be your new retail price. So again, use sales properly, guys, and list the product at the proper price that you believe it'll be sold, and then do discounts periodically, okay? The next one is unrealistic or unclear pricing. So if you're selling something well below market value, it's going to flag to them that it's potentially a scam, right? I know a lot of you may not have this, but a lot of you do end up selling products that are, you're not going to make enough margin. And so if you're selling it too low, Google might consider your product and site a scam. The whole compare app price is a big one. I've definitely had that mentioned to me by Google reps. So try and avoid that, and then make sure that your pricing is proper, guys. Don't try and mislead people, and then on top of that, try and be as honest as you possibly can with this stuff, guys. The other issues I found are countdown timers that aren't real. Just avoid countdown timers, guys. Just don't use them anymore unless they're genuinely real, especially ones like in-cart and initiate checkout and things like that. It's easier just to avoid using them at this point, guys. I think most customers are kind of immune to them now anyway, so best bet is just to remove it. It's going to remove any confusion, because at the end of the day, it isn't real, your countdown timer, and Google knows that. So another big one is using copied product pages. Do not copy and paste other people's product pages. Do not import the AliExpress description. If you're just copying someone else's product page entirely, definitely going to cause a red flag, especially if it's an AliExpress style one. If it's one of a well-known product, you're probably less likely to get banned, but best bet is to try and come up with your own product descriptions. The next one is using poor or copied images. Again, remember, Google Images scours the whole internet and it can read your image. So if you're using an AliExpress image, or if you're using an image directly copied from someone else, try and go in there and in some way edit images. I know this isn't going to be viable for everyone, but this is just some issues that I've found with people, right? The poor quality one is a big one, especially if the product isn't front and center. So if you're selling something and there's like 10 other things in the background, it's probably going to confuse the customer. And Google's going to also flag that and go, well, I don't know what you're selling. No reviews or fake imported AliExpress reviews is another no-no in my opinion. Some people say, yeah, go do it. I don't think you should be doing it anymore, especially if you're running Google shopping ads. This is definitely a reason people get banned, okay? So have a look. Does your site look like this, guys? Does it look like this generic look and feel? You might be able to get away with it using Facebook ads, even though they're cracking down there too. But, you've got a missing example collection title. Like, you've got no collection title there. Nothing has custom images. It's just AliExpress product images. If your store looks like this, you need to lift your game. It's going to look like every other scammer's store as well. So try and get custom graphics and put a bit of effort. This store here probably took, an hour to set up and get up and running. So it's definitely not something you want to do, guys. You want to try and lift your game and be better than this now. Does it look like this? Premier Deals Hub, and then you've got this generic image. I've got no idea what these guys sell. You need to tell people what you're selling. I mean, home products, it's a woman, it might be a jewelry, it might be apparel. I don't actually know what they're selling, right? Try and make it clear so when you go to review and get Google to review your account, they know what you're selling and it doesn't look like this. Do your descriptions look like this? Do they look like something just copy-pasted from AliExpress, right? All these different bits and pieces. Now, obviously, this is something that's just underneath an AliExpress description, but you know the type of description I'm talking about. Like, is it this crappy couple of dot points? Doesn't really make any sense. Is in awkward English. Don't do this. Put a little bit more effort in, and you're much less likely to get banned. So, let's put our heads into the scammers. Let's put our minds into that of a scammer now, right? What do they have in common? These are other things they have in common outside of the website. Bad reviews online on things like Trustpilot, Facebook, and other review sites. Google can find these, and it says it in their policy that they take this into account now. So if you've been selling a ton of products and you're starting to get tons of bad Trustpilot reviews and stuff online and on other websites, this is going to be a problem for you. Location's definitely a factor, guys, because I see less Australian, US, UK, and Canadian stores banned. So definitely Southeast Asia, China, India, and a lot of other countries. They just seem to, obviously, within Google's system, flag at a higher rate and ban more of them. I'm not saying it's fair, but for whatever reason, their AI definitely does that based on what I'm seeing. There's also lots of unrealistic claims being made on their websites and in other places, ad copy and things like that. Fast weight loss, fixes wrinkles, teeth whitening, fast acting, remove all that stuff. Certain categories are more likely to get banned as well, guys. So try and avoid selling, health-related products that are rapid weight loss, teeth whitening, or anything that goes into the body, like I said earlier. Avoid selling that stuff if you're wanting to avoid getting banned. Long shipping times are definitely going to be a flag for them. So if you've got long shipping times, try and get local suppliers and improve that shipping rate at the very least through an agent. A bad overall experience with your business, so high bounce rates, poor landing page experience, slow load speeds, lots of apps, right? Especially like certain apps, they're going to cause a flag. So, potentially early imported reviews and apps that countdown timers. If you're using things like, the trust badge apps as well with companies you're not associated with, that's going to cause a flag too. The age of the domain actually makes a difference too. So if you have an older domain, use that, and obviously something that's been active. So brand new ones are far more likely to get banned than an old existing one, right? And then lastly, you're in some way misleading people. So if you're trying to scam someone, if you're trying to mislead someone, then you're doing something that's scammy, guys. Just think through every action you've taken. Have you cut a corner? Because if you have, you're probably going to cause a red flag within Google's system. So lastly, guys, what are you going to do if you get a final ban? So if you go through, fix all the things that I've just said, request a manual review, and they come back to you with an email saying, you know what, we don't want you on our platform anymore. There's nothing you can do about it. Do not just create a new account immediately, guys. Try go back and forward as much as you possibly can to try and get your original account back. It's going to be hard because remember, Google will track your domain, IP address, credit card details, and literally any other data point you can imagine. So even the browser cookie is going to cause an issue, right? So you're going to need to delete the cookies, do it in a new browser, use a VPN to try and create anything new, right? You need to be careful. So my first point of direction is try and get your old account back because they can track you basically, yeah? So if though, as a last resort, you get a final ban, the only thing you can do is start completely fresh, right? Completely fresh. Everything needs to be completely fresh. But when you do this, your site needs to be at this new level and everything is going to have to change. You cannot just go and have your old site again with all your old accounts and create a new account. You're going to get banned and it's going to happen very, very quickly. And then after that, it's going to be very, very hard to get any new accounts back. And I feel like a lot of people have done this and then have put a black mark against themselves, and that's what's making it really hard. When I say you need to start completely fresh, this is everything. Merchant account, analytics, a URL, Google Ads, a different address, IP, so you need a VPN, and you need to clear all the cookies in your browser and potentially even use a different browser, right? So, as I said, I'm not recommending people do this out of the gate, but this is the potential last step if you have done everything. If you haven't gone and fixed your website and fixed anything you need to do and you don't get a professional to do it for you, you're probably going to end up in the exact same position, guys. So as a summary, guys, I'm going to give you just a little quick summary of the key things to focus on to not get banned, right? Go through this. It's very basic. We're going to say, so it's very, very basic, guys. Read Google's policy and learn it back to front. Check the Merchant Center regularly. Rectify even minor issues. Keep a clean, up-to-date feed and enter as much information as you can on all products. Make sure it's truthful, right? And lastly, just do not try and be shifty. You're running a business. Google is smarter than you and I. It's got so many data points to look at. If you're trying to do something and make a shortcut to speed up the process or make more sales, that's not how legitimate businesses are built. You need to be patient, you need to be persistent, and you should actually be glad they're doing this cleanse because all the bad businesses are going to go away. There's going to be less competition and your ads should in turn be cheaper, right? A better customer experience is going to bring more people onto the Google Shopping network. More people are going to trust it. Word of mouth is going to spread. More people shopping there means more opportunity for you. So, own this stuff. Be responsible. Read the policies and try not to scam people. And you know what, guys? I guarantee you, if you take these steps in here, you're going to be far less likely to be banned and far more likely to get your account back. Now, I know this isn't going to help all of you. There's sometimes you just will not get your account back. Me, myself, have had instances where, client accounts, we weren't able to get them back. There's not many, been able to get most of them back. But yeah, sometimes that's just how it goes. And to be honest, the ones we didn't get back were because one of these things was clearly violated and the client wasn't willing to change it. And so that was it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this has helped you. I hope some of you get your Google Merchant Center accounts back. And please let me know below if you were able to get them back. If you weren't, leave a comment below and like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.